Hiya! Welcome! Two box set unboxings to do today from two different companies, and as you know from the title, etc., these are CD singles box sets, namely Depeche Mode. So I've been a big Depeche Mode fan for many years, one of my top 10 favourite bands. I only collect them on CD, but I've really fancied getting those 12-inch single box sets that they've been releasing for each of their studio albums over the past 5 or 6 years now. The trouble is, the majority of them are very expensive. The earlier ones, not so much now, but certainly the ones that have got more singles in them and are more recent go for a lot of money. And also, a load of 12-inch singles box sets would just be an absolute space waster. Not waste, but I haven't got the room for them, really. I've not got the room for most of my record collection, not that it stops me buying records, obviously. So I thought, well, what would be a good compromise? Because I want those singles, or as many as I can, but I don't want to spend too much money or take up a load of space. And then I remembered that Depeche Mode, on the Mute label of course for all these years, released singles box sets on CD. I remember seeing them in record shops back in the 90s, and they've been reissued once or twice, the early ones anyway. I think the later ones that came out around 2004, they're the only editions. But it's the first two singles box sets, basically the first, what will it be, 14 Depeche Mode singles in their career, that I'll show you today. Obviously I would prefer to start with them. I'm more of a fan of early to sort of late 80s, early 90s period Depeche Mode than their more recent work. I am a completist on them with their albums, and I would be on the singles as well, but we'll talk a little more about other box sets that may or may not be available later on. So first set I want to open is this one here from Flashback Records. I believe this is one of the reissue sets, probably 2004, at least that's the year that Flashback said when they listed it on the website. I will double check when I'm logging this in my Discogs collection database, obviously. And this one cost me about, including postage, I think it was just a little bit under £40, which for a box set with seven CDs in it, I don't think was too bad. I don't mind if I get the original 1991 issues or any of the later reissues for these single sets, really. I'm not fussy. So it's packaged in bubble wrap. There's also international variants of these. There's American editions, there's European editions, as opposed to just strictly UK ones, at least for the early original 1990s issues anyway. So the first set is here, and it's got the number 1 on it, so that means it's the first singles box set, the first one that was released by Depeche Mode and Mute Records. So not a great deal to look at on the set itself. Feels quite nice, a sort of textured box here. Nice condition. I wouldn't say mint, but it's fairly close. A strong, very good plus, I would say. Not that I'm an expert on grading, particularly CDs. Grading vinyl's difficult enough for me. So let's see how this opens. I don't know if these are going to be in the right order or not. They might not be, so I'm just going to take them as we find them, really. It opens out to that. Well, now we've got a little booklet. That's nice. I didn't actually know it came with one. And it's listing, it's listing all the tracks basically on each CD. Probably can't see the text very well in this light. That's pretty cool. So I'll just start taking the CDs out and show you one at a time. Yeah, I don't know if these are in order. Let me take them from the other side and see if they're in any better order. This one is Dreaming of Me. That is their debut single for all intents and purposes. So yes, these might be in the right order now that I've started taking them out of the box from the right end. Just 2 tracks on this single, Dreaming of Me and Ice Machine. I may need my glasses on at some point because the text is going to be a lot smaller with these being CDs. Then we've got New Life and Shout and also another remix of Shout. Yeah, I'm going to put my glasses on for this. The Rio mix of Shout, so that's a 3-track single there. Love the artwork. Depeche Mode's artwork for their singles and albums has usually been pretty top notch. It does give you a little bit of information as to what album this was on. Dreaming of Me didn't originally come on an album, but it obviously did get included on their first singles compilation in the mid-80s, and it's been added to later reissues of the first album, Speak and Spell. Coming up next is the excellent Just Can't Get Enough. I think these singles are basically replicating the original 12 inches, I think, or at least one of the set of original 12 inches, because after a while Depeche Mode would have been multi-formatting like pretty much every other act did once, 12-inch singles and then CD singles started becoming more popular. This has got 4 tracks on it, Just Can't Get Enough, Any Second Now, the title track Schizo Mix, and Any Second Now Altered. Lovely package this. As I say, I remember seeing these box sets and they seemed quite expensive, at least to me as a teenager, in places like HMV, Virgin Megastore, Our Price back in the 90s, and they did tempt me, and I wasn't even a Depeche Mode collector particularly then. I always liked them, but I didn't really start buying their albums until at least, I would say, the early 2010s. Weirdly enough, it took me that long to start filling in my Depeche Mode collection. Then here is See You, the extended version. All the jewel cases here seem to be intact, which is good. I was half expecting some of these to be kind of snapped or cracked, but so far so good. This one has See You extended version, Now This Is Fun, and Now This Is Fun extended version. Should be counting these really. I think there'll be 7 in here, and we've done 4 so far. No, I think it's 6 actually, by the look of it. Next one is The Meaning of Love. That was from the album A Broken Frame, their second studio album. Also on here is Oberkorn, It's a Small Town, the fairly odd mix of The Meaning of Love and the development mix of Oberkorn. And a lot of these B-sides and remixes I don't think I'll have heard before. For Depeche Mode albums, I've got the special edition CDs, at least for the early years, 1981 till 2001, I think. I've got the special editions that have the bonus DVD on, where you can get like a surround sound version of the album and also little documentaries about each album. Great sets they are, I highly recommend them for any CD collectors / Depeche Mode fans. Leaving Silence is the last disc in here, so yeah, we've got 6 singles in here. This one has Leaving Silence, excerpt from My Secret Garden, a longer version of the title track, further excerpts from My Secret Garden, and a quieter mix of Leaving Silence, so 5 tracks on that single. Great stuff there, really pleased with that. I think it was a good price. I'll put all these back in hopefully the right order. Doesn't really matter, but I will attempt to listen to them in chronological order, if only so any OCDs of mine don't get triggered too much. A couple of my very favourite singles on here, Just Can't Get Enough and See You. I've always loved both of those tracks. So if you're going to collect these box sets here, then to start with the first one, seems a no-brainer. It is really, but certainly for me, who loves early Depeche, then excellent stuff there. So that was the first set of 6 singles. Yes, singles 1 to 6. I don't know why I was thinking it was 7 in here. Really pleased with that from Flashback. Now then, on to the second one. This was the first purchase I've made for a while from Vinyl on the Net. Now then, Vinyl on the Net, their website wasn't down, but they had a note on the homepage saying they weren't taking any orders for getting on for a couple of months, and they've started taking orders again. It's kind of a bittersweet thing, and I did do a post about this on my community tab recently. John Esplin, the founder of Vinyl on the Net, he sadly passed away from cancer in I think mid-November, and the new team at Vinyl on the Net let everyone know about it on the blog page that they've got. I've paid a little tribute to John, who I dealt with a lot last year, and he was friendly, and He was generous as well. You know, we haggled a little bit sometimes and he was perfectly fine about that and gave me discounts. He started giving me free postage on all my orders there after a while because I was such a regular customer. And by all accounts, from what people have said about him on the blog and around the sort of record trading community, he was well respected and well liked, fan of music and record dealer. He was particularly well known in the punk rock and new wave circles. I just thought I would mention about his sad passing in this video as a kind of precursor to this second unboxing here. So thank you, John, for everything. You will be missed by your family and your friends and anyone who was able to deal with you. So we'll get open this one from Vinyl on the Net. It's two new guys running the site. I think the guy who I spoke to or emailed when I was making the order was Stu. So thank you, Stu, for getting this out pretty quick. This only came today. I had the other set from Flashback that's been sat around for a few days now while I waited to unbox them both in the same video. So I just need to get this outer plastic off, and then it's enshrined in cardboard. Could be a box or it could just be some folded cardboard, but seems very well protected anyway. This I think should be an original 1991 set. As I say, I didn't really care if it was the originals or the reissues because they're all going to be almost identical. There's going to be differences in the barcode and things like that, obviously. Well, they packaged this up excellently because I'm not struggling to get into it here, but I'm not complaining. Better that than it just coming in no protective packaging at all and potentially getting bashed around. This cost me £40, and with a little bit of postage it was about 44, I think. 44 something. We're almost in. There we are. So this is the second box set. There'll be 6 CDs in this again, I think. Yes, Depeche Mode singles 7 to 12. This one says made in England, so this one likely to be a specific UK issue rather than a European one. But same sort of deal as the first one. Opens out like that. There again, not sure if the singles are in the right chronological order, but we'll just take them as we find them anyway. Another little booklet there. See, very similar. Say this is an original and the other one's a repressing. Just looking at the packaging and the materials inside, you wouldn't really know at first glance, certainly. There is a copyright date of 91 at the back of here. I don't know if there was a newer copyright date in the booklet for the first set. I didn't think to check. Carrying on with these Depeche Mode singles. So this one is Get the Balance Right. This one wasn't on an album, but it did come out on these singles 81 to 85. And the tracks are Get the Balance Right, The Great Outdoors, Get the Balance Right combination mix, and a live version of Tora, Tora, Tora. All the CDs themselves seem to have this uniform design with a number, which is quite nice really. Then we have another one of my all-time favourites, Everything Counts, taken from Construction Time Again, the third album. Also on the CD is Work Hard, Everything Counts in Larger Amounts, so an extended version, and Work Hard East End Remix. Yeah, I'm really pleased with these, and once again, the condition, because these will be pre-owned items obviously, but the condition of the jewel cases seems to be excellent. You know, a few sort of very superfluous scratches, but I expect that. But no major cracks or hinges broken off so far. Now we've got Love in Itself, or Love in Itself Point 2. Also on this is Fools, Love in Itself Point 3, bigger version of Fools, and Love in Itself Point 4. Next up is People Are People. So this was from the album Some Great Reward, their fourth album. Brilliant album that. Well, I love all of Depeche's 1980s work, really. And this one also, there's In Your Memory, a different mix of People Are People, and a slick mix of In Your Memory. Master and Servant. Also on this one, Set Me Free, Remotivate Me. The Slavery Whip mix of Master and Servant, the release mix of Set Me Free, Remotivate Me, and the Voxless, so presumably instrumental version of Master and Servant. And finally, Blasphemous Rumours. Great single once again. They're all great singles, to be honest, and it's so good to have these finally. I've had the albums a long time. When I remembered that these singles CD sets are out, I thought, yes, I've got to look for all of these, or some of them. I'll talk a little bit about the other ones in a moment. But on this one, Blasphemous Rumours, Told You So Live, Somebody Remix, and Everything Counts Live. So that's all the next 6 singles from Depeche Mode. That's it. After much struggling, I've got them back in. So these are the first 2 Depeche Mode CD singles box sets. So happy to have these, nice and small, so they're not going to take up a lot of room here. Can't wait to get stuck into listening to these. Now then, I think altogether there was maybe 6 of these, or 7, I can't remember the exact amount, but from about the 3rd box set onwards, the price on the aftermarket seems to jump up quite a lot. These 2 being around the sort of £35 to £40 mark, I thought were worth getting, but some of the others are quite considerably more. But that's not to say that I won't find a good deal somewhere. I'll keep checking the usual places, Discogs, eBay, so hopefully I'll be showing you more of these Depeche Mode CD sets, because I would like the full collection, however many there are. And those singles will go up to the early 2000s Depeche era, I think, and then they stopped doing these physical CD sets, probably because CD singles, the sale of them was on a decline in the early to mid 2000s. But anyway, I'll see how I go with that. So hopefully we will revisit Depeche Mode singles in the future, but I'm going to try and look out for some bargains. But these 2 I felt were reasonably priced enough to begin the collection here today. So thank you to Flashback, to Vinyl on the Net, and thank you for watching this video. I want to say special thanks to all of my wonderful subscribers and my generous patrons too. I'm going to go now and what else but start listening to these Depeche Mode CD singles. Always fancied getting these from donkeys years ago, decades ago. Yes, the 12-inch box sets would have been nice, but I don't have the room for all of those, and the majority of them are bloody expensive. So I will do that, and I hope that you will join me again next time for my next CD collecting and music collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!